Welcome back to GOO ROO Beauty. I am doing a requested get ready with me for this look today. I did post a look on Instagram recently sharing some new products as well that I'm using, and it was highly requested that I do a get ready with me. I'm using lots of drugstore affordable products for you today. Of note, the brand new Maybelline Superstay Better Skin Flawless Finish Foundation. I'll show you that one going on. Also a brand new eyeshadow palette from Models Prefer. They do have a darker, smokier one as well, but this one is their nude eyeshadow palette. The packaging is absolutely 100% identical to the NYX 10 eyeshadow palettes. This nude one is a suitable one for everyday use. You can see, of course, very neutral shades there, $12.95. It's not the best quality eyeshadow, but you know, decent. Also using heaps and heaps of other drugstore products, so lots of affordable brands for you today. If you want to see how I got this look using drugstore products, keep on watching. Starting with the Maybelline Dream Smooth Primer. This is a very sort of solid silicone-y one, just pressing it into the skin. It's a nice smoothing primer. Following up with that new Superstay Better Skin Foundation, 2 squirts from the pump. It's quite a peachy shade, this 030 Sand. I like it. I think it works for me. I do have to blend it down the neck. Here I'm using the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. It's quite easy to blend in. I'm going to get medium coverage from that and a fairly matte finish. Too Faced Shadow Insurance to keep the shadow on all day. It needs a bit of extra help with a colour base. This is the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. I'm just lightening up the lid here because the shadows alone from the Models Prefer palette won't do it. Just blending that in with my finger and then following up with a clean, fluffy eyeshadow brush just to finish blending that in. Now I'm going in with the lightest matte cream shade from the Models Prefer Nude Eyeshadow Palette. I've cleaned off that fluffy brush and I'm just lightly applying that light shade all over the lid, right up over the brow bone as well. Next I'm going in with a fluffy brush into that lightest brown matte shade, and I'm just starting to contour out the crease in circular and windshield wiper motions. I'm going fairly close to the center there of the lid. Now I'm going into the next darkest brown matte shade with a smaller, more dense brush. This is going to give more precision application into the crease. And you can see I'm just making the shape out before I start blending. Bringing what's left on the brush down underneath the eye as well. And now going back in with that fluffy brush. Haven't added any product to it, but I'm just going to blend out what I've applied now. Using a tapered crease brush, this one is a Wayne Goss brush I think it is, to apply the darkest matte brown shade to the outer V now, and I'm using again circular motions, windshield wiper motions, bringing it down under the lower lash line and just adding to the dimension there in the outer V. You do have to keep going back to dip into this eyeshadow palette to build up colour. It's not heavily pigmented or buttery, so if you don't mind the time and patience to go back in and keep adding colour, then this one will be okay. Going back in with that fluffy brush just to blend it all out, and now I'm using a Models Prefer Infinite Colour Eye Pencil in Midnight Gaze. It's got a little bit of a shimmer to it, mostly black, very creamy, easy, lovely to use. They last nicely throughout the day. And now I'm just blending that out with a precision eye brush, just so there's no definite lines, just to soften it up on that upper lash line. Now I'm using the pencil to tight line, so I want to make that very black, very dark, right between the lashes, no skin showing through, very creamy, easy to do with this pencil. Using that shadow to blend out the lash line as well. As you can see here, it does help just to blend out that wing as well as just to further soften up that upper lined lash line. Now I'm going in with a new mascara from Innoxa. This is the Lush Lashes Mascara.
I think this is beneficial to your lashes with continued use. I find that it's not quite as voluminous as I was after for this look, so I am putting a second layer on now with using the Covergirl Flamed Out Mascara. A little bit more volume there. Now going to the under eyes with the Garnier Anti-Dark Circle Eye Roller. I find that this is quite drying. I would not necessarily recommend it. It has got alcohol in it and it's not as hydrating as you'd want for the under eye area. Blending it out with my very favourite Furless Pro 7E domed brush. I love it. And then further patting it in with my finger. I'm going to go over with another concealer, the Covergirl and Olay Simply Ageless Eye Concealer. I love it. I am also using that fluffy brush just over any blemishes that I want to cover with that. And setting it now with the Australis Ready Set Go Finishing Powder, very similar to the Makeup Forever HD powder, very light silica based powder. Now I'm contouring with the Face of Australia Glamazon Contour and Highlight Kit. They call this one the Leopardess, and using a Wayne Goss brush. Oh, I'm in love with this brush for contouring. I'm just building up that contour under the cheekbone. Don't worry, I will blend it out later. I'm just placing the shade now to my liking, and I'm going to bring that up to the temples and right up around the forehead. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to use what's left on the brush now just to squeeze the brush and contour my nose down the sides and then the tip as well. I don't do this every day, probably 50-50. Now I'm using a Real Techniques, I think that's called this setting brush, just to apply the highlight shade. You want to go as lightly as possible. This is not my favourite highlighter, it's okay. Now using a Nasia Chio brush to apply the Essence Blush Up blush in Heat Wave. It's a really lovely pinky peach, and a little goes a long way. Now blending everything out with that face brush, it's just going to help everything look a lot nicer. Defining my brows now with the Essence Eyebrow Stylist Kit, using the light shade and the dark shade, and then brushing it all out with the spoolie end of a double-ended angled brow brush. Set that all in place with the Ardell Brow Sculpting Gel. It's a clear brow sculpting gel. I like it. I would recommend it. It doesn't flake and it doesn't make my eyebrows feel stiff. So that's fantastic. Now for the lips, I have lined my lips with a Chi Chi lip liner, following up with the Creamy Matte Liquid Lipstick. I like these quite a bit. They're not too matte and not drying, which is nice. This is the shade Show Pony. It's a lovely sort of brownie mauve. I am quite a fan. Almost forgot, using the Ardell Accent Lash now in 305. These are a nice half size, just a very easy to apply, and they look nice and natural, very light.
This is the finished look. I hope that you did enjoy it. Of course, lots of drugstore, affordable products for you there. You do not need to spend a lot of money. While the Models Prefer palette is not, you know, super duper pigmented, it swatches quite well, and at $12.95 it really is a decent everyday palette. I really like the Models Prefer pencils as well that I use to line my eyes. Some new mascaras there, the Essence blush. I really like the Face of Australia bronzer duo. That's fantastic, and those Shishi creamy matte lipsticks are also very, very nice as well. So you definitely saw some of my favorites from the drugstore in use today. Hope that you enjoyed it. A really nice neutral look that would be suitable for daytime. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you have tried any of these products, I would love to hear from you. What did you think? And I will see you again really, really soon. Thank you so much for watching. You are beautiful. Don't you forget it. Bye guys.